Hello and welcome to second part of microencapsulation techniques. In first part we have studied various physical methods of microencapsulation. In this second part we will discuss various physicochemical methods of microencapsulation. First physicochemical method is ionotropic gelation. This method is based on the principle of chemical reaction between sodium alginate and calcium chloride or other counter-ion solutions such as barium chloride. When solution of sodium chloride is added into calcium chloride solution, it forms calcium alginate, which is water insoluble in nature. Hence, it gets sold to gel transformation. Means sodium alginate and calcium chloride both are water soluble in nature, but calcium alginate is water insoluble. The drug dispersed in sodium alginate solution get entrapped in the calcium alginate gel and we get the microcapsules or microspheres. Second and most important method is co-adsorption phase separation method. This method is developed by Mr. B.K. Green and co-scientists. The principle of this method is based on three steps which are to be carried out under continuous agitation. First step is formation of three immiscible chemical phases. Second step is deposition of coating. Third is rigidization of coating. This is schematic representation of co-adsorption phase separation process. The figure A shows the biphasic system in which the core material is dispersed in a solution of polymer, that is coating solution. Diagram B indicates separation of co-adsorbate from the solution. So here co-adsorbate means the dissolved polymer. So what we are doing here, formation of three immiscible phases. Diagram A indicates two-phase system while diagram B indicates three-phase system. So when dissolved polymer comes out of the solution, then three phases are formed, that is solvent phase, core material phase and coating material phase. Diagram C indicates the coating of core material by micro droplets of co-adsorbates, means deposition of coating. And diagram D indicates coalescence of co-adsorbate to form a continuous shell or film around the core particle. This co-adsorption phase separation. So phase separation, how to carry out phase separation? It may be achieved by various means, like first it is temperature change. We know the relationship between solubility and temperature. As temperature increases, solubility increases and vice versa. So generally two-phase system we are keeping at low temperatures so that the dissolved polymer will come or precipitate out of the solution and we get the phase separation, that is three-phase system. Second method of phase separation is by addition of incompatible polymer. Example is polybutadiene. When it is dissolved in toluene, it is in solution form. But when we add ethyl cellulose, polybutadiene and ethyl cellulose are incompatible with each other, so polybutadiene will co-adsorbate or it will come out of the solution. Third method is by addition of non-solvent. So here simple example is ethyl cellulose when dissolved in ethanol, it gives you clear solution, and in that if we add water, ethyl cellulose will come out of the solution because water and ethanol, they are miscible with each other while water act as a non-solvent for ethyl cellulose. So phase separation is achieved. Fourth method is by salt addition. When the polymer is dissolved in aqueous phase, when we add excess amount of salt in that, then salt get itself dissolved and polymer will come out of the solution and phase separation is achieved. Fifth method of phase separation is polymer-polymer interaction. Like gelatin solution. In gelatin solution, if we are adding gum arabic, there is interaction between gelatin and gum arabic, and the gelatin will come out of the solution. So these are the five techniques of phase separation. Next, co-observation means deposition. So during continuous stirring, this conservate which are came out of the solution will continuously deposit on the interface of core material and solvent, and as the layer is comes growing, okay, it form a continuous film. So this is in brief about co-observation phase separation technique. Next category is chemical process of microencapsulation. First method is solvent evaporation method. In this method, we are forming polymer solution in a suitable solvent. Then in this solution, we have to either dissolve or disperse the core material, that is drug, and in a separate beaker or in a separate vessel, we have to take continuous phase. Continuous phase is nothing but a liquid in which our drug and polymer are insoluble, and the solvent in which we have dissolved the drug and polymer, it must be immiscible with the continuous phase. Accordingly, we have to choose a continuous phase. It may be water, it may be any fixed oil like liquid paraffin. Now this continuous phase is kept under continuous agitation or stirring at elevated or high temperature. Then the dispersion of drug in polymeric solution is dropwise added into continuous phase. So as stirring is continuous, it forms a emulsion of continuous phase and the dispersion of drug and polymer. And as the temperature is high, the continuously solvent get evaporated and coating material get deposited or coated around the core material, and we get the microparticles. It may be microcapsules or microspheres. Advantages of this technique: this encapsulation technique is used for both hydrophobic drug as well as hydrophilic drugs. It is a very simple technique and most commonly used technique for microencapsulation. In this technique, we can encapsulate solid core material as well as liquid core material. In the case in which the core material is dispersed in polymer solution, polymer shrinks around the core and we get a microcapsules. Means here we get a reservoir system. Core material is inside and polymer is coated around the core material. And when in the case core material is dissolved in coating polymer solution, then matrix type of microcapsule is formed, or it is also called as microsphere or matrix system. The core material used in this method may be water soluble or may be water insoluble. So accordingly, we have to choose a proper solvent so that we should get solution of polymer, and in that the core material, whether we require matrix system or reservoir system, accordingly we have to choose the solvent for core material. A variety of film forming polymers can be used as a coating material in solvent evaporation technique. Next method is polymerization. First polymerization method is interfacial polymerization. In interfacial polymerization, the two reactants in the polycondensation meet at interface and react rapidly. Means we have to form a dispersion of core material in solvent. In that, two reactants we have to add, and the polymerization reaction occurs at the interface and polymer get coated and we get the microcapsules. Second is in situ polymerization. In a few microencapsulation process, the direct polymerization of single monomer is carried out on the particle surface. For example, cellulose fibers are encapsulated in polyethylene while immersed in toluene. Means cellulose fibers when dispersed in toluene if we add ethylene monomers, and then the process of polymerization is started, then cellulose fiber get coated with the polyethylene, means ethylene monomers get converted into polymer, that is polyethylene. Next it is applications of microencapsulation. First application and most important is prolonged release. So we can get prolonged release dosage forms like sustained release, control release, as well as delayed release. We can prepare enteric coated dosage forms for targeted action in distal part of GIT. It can be used for test masking, odor masking, or to reduce the gastric irritation. Microencapsulation can be also used for the addition of oily medicine into tableted dosage form to overcome problem inherent with the producing tablet from a otherwise tacky granules. For example, non-flowable multi-component solid mixture of niacin, riboflavin, thiamine, hydrochloride, and iron phosphate. So when these oily medicines we convert into solid, it converts into a free flowing powder and it can be tableted easily. Next application is to protect the drug from the environmental hazards such as humidity, light, oxygen, heat, etc. For example, vitamin A and vitamin K have been shown to be protected by moisture and oxygen through microencapsulation. Next application is separation of incompatible substances. We know that more than one active ingredient is given in a single dosage form. So if number of chemicals increases, incompatibility also increases. So it is possible to give more than one chemicals or active ingredient in a single dosage form without their physical contact. Example is aspirin and chloramphenicol maleate CPM. This mixture can be given in a single tablet by microencapsulation. Then microencapsulation also can be used to decrease the volatility of volatile active ingredients, so during the storage period. The hygroscopic properties of many core material may be reduced by microencapsulation. The microencapsulation has also been used to decrease the potential danger of handling of hazardous and toxic substances such as fumigants, herbicides, insecticides, and pesticides. Now, evaluation of microcapsules. So, first evaluation parameter is percentile. So how much amount of polymer and drug we are using and how much product we are getting, it can be calculated by percentile is equal to amount of microcapsule obtained divided by theoretical amount into 100. Morphological study can be carried out by scanning electron microscopy, which is mainly done for the surface characteristics of microcapsule. Also it can be used for the determination of size and shape also. Particle size analysis, this can be done by either sieve analysis or optical microscopy method. Next evaluation parameter is encapsulation efficiency or drug content, or it is also called as drug loading. It is simply done by determining the drug content in a given sample of microcapsules, and microencapsulation efficiency is calculated by actual drug content divided by theoretical drug content into 100. Then in vitro drug release study, it is nothing but a dissolution study which is carried out in either USP type 1 or type 2 apparatus, and it may be carried out for 12 hours or maybe more than that. Then drug polymer compatibility study. So drug, we are, as in microencapsulation we are using various physico-chemical and chemical methods, so there may be chances of interaction of drug and polymer. So whether our drug and polymer showing any interaction or giving rise to any hazardous or toxic substance, or whether the efficacy is reduced, this must be determined, and it can be determined by IR spectroscopy and DSC. This method is also called as structure to check the structural integrity of drug. These are the references, and thank you very much.